Art has been a part of Schiphol for years on end. Sometimes obvious, sometimes subtle. These works inspire the millions of travellers who visit our airport every year on their journeys, whether they are arriving or departing. This podcast series, Art Moments Schiphol, introduces you to the stories behind the artworks, guided by the creators themselves. Let's take a look, shall we? In this episode, artist Suzanne de Graaf shares more about her work, Jantje.
The mermaid, which I worked on after my graduation, I did a lot of research. I made a lot of drawings, I made a lot of pictures, I read a lot about it, but I also made sculptures or fragments of the mermaid. One day I also made mermaid flippers and tried to swim with them.
Did you know that the Netherlands also gets called the Lowlands? Now, this is because part of the country actually lies below sea level. Schiphol Airport is the only major airport in the world lower than the sea. 4 meters, to be exact. A more than fitting home for the art piece you'll find when descending to the ground level B gates. Down here, you walk past an enormous photograph. Deep underwater, a woman drifts, wrapped in white robes. Her name is Jantje, and since 2004 she's been swimming across the panels of our airport.
My name is Suzanne de Graaf. I'm an artist. I make sculptures, drawings, paintings, photographs, and I'm working and living in Amsterdam. And my studio is located in the harbor area, where I can make my work in a fantastic bubble.
Ever since her graduation from Gerrit Rietveld Academy in 1995, de Graaf has been fascinated with creating artworks that can only be described as new, contemporary creatures. De Graaf likes to work with themes of imperfection and sensuality, and alternates between sculpting, photography, and painting.
I'm very inspired by the human, but also bodies of animals. Not so much literally, as well as how the human body exposing human body parts or animal parts. And maybe that's also why the mermaid was interesting. The combination, the sensuality of skin, how skin or bodies can get strong or tight or weak, or there's an expression in it. I try to combine emotions and feelings in new body parts.
If your flight departs from the B pier, you might run into the mermaid Jantje, one of de Graaf's creatures. Analog photographs printed on large panels which wind around the bathroom block. The woman drifting underwater is no stranger to de Graaf, and neither is this airport. The photos were taken on a sunny holiday, a journey that started right here at Schiphol.
The artwork is called Jantje, and Jantje is the name of my friend, and she modeled for the underwater pictures, which are printed on the toilet area in the Bay Pier. What I really like is that this part of the Bay Pier is underneath the ground level. So it's under, like the work is underwater. So that's really fits very well. We went on holiday, and for myself, I was working in my studio with transparent fabrics, and I was making like gowns, dresses. So I put them in my suitcase, we went on holiday, I took my analog underwater camera and my goggles, and Jantje, of course. And then we went to Mallorca, where the Mediterranean Sea is very beautiful. The light is really fantastic over there, and especially on the water. And the first time we went swimming together, I was wearing my goggles, but Jantje didn't wear goggles. And I said, "How do you see underwater?" And she said, "I just opened my eyes." So when I was watching her swimming underwater, she was really moving like a mermaid. and so natural, and she was really looking at me. So she was wearing the dresses. I took my camera and tried to shoot as good as I could.
Swimming, twisting, adventuring underwater. The photographs of Jantje are mysterious. In the viewer, they might evoke a feeling of freedom, like the weightlessness of being underwater. As you walk around the block, the images feel like they are moving too. Surprising new angles. Sometimes you're close to her hand, sometimes she drifts away. De Graaf and Jantje spent hours in the water to capture these.
No, I could not check at all what I've been shooting. So it's like pointing and doing a prey and hoping that's the good picture, and doing it close, with more distance, pressing all the air out of your lungs, try to go down to the bottom of the sea and then to make pictures, and then go up and gasp for breath, and then ask, yeah, can you swim one more time from this direction towards me? And then turn around, and so that's what we did. And then after the holiday, you run to the photo lab, and to develop the films. And then it was a really nice surprise what came out.
Together with Jantje, De Graaf felt free to try something new. She wasn't thinking about the end result. Rather, they were capturing a moment in time. Actually, this is a theme you can find throughout her artworks, whether in photos or in sculpture. She is interested in freedom of form. De Graaf does not shy away from different textures or perspectives. She embraces unfamiliar shapes.
Well, I think it started when I was young. I liked to draw and to create things. And my mother, she was working a lot, making a lot of clothes on the sewing machine. And this is what I found very interesting. So she taught me from a very young age how to sew my own clothes, how to draw patterns, how to sew by hand. I didn't like to think in limits. I tried to make everything I wanted myself. I don't decide, I just start working, and sometimes you start working by making drawings, and the drawing can end up in a pattern, or I can make a pattern out of it and it can become a sculpture. Or, you take photographs, snapshots of things you interest and make collages. Or I'm assembling with material which I find in my studio, like deconstructed furniture or things I find on the street. And objects in my studio are completely out of context, which they're supposed to be in. And this deformating objects can also help me with creating a sculpture.
Deconstructed furniture? Stuff found on the corner of a street? De Graaf's studio is a peculiar place. But is there an object that stands out as more surprising than the others?
Okay, well, besides all the fabrics and materials and deconstructed garbage which is in there, though it's not garbage in my studio, I would say that the most interesting object you can find in my studio is the aerobic step. It's a rectangular step-up. And in the 80s and 90s, you had aerobics classes with a rectangular step-up. And when I'm working on a sculpture, you can't continually work. You also need time of reflection. You need time to think. And besides, it's sometimes very cold in my studio. It's also, I like to dance. I'm going to dance with my step-up. Nice, hard techno music on, and I do my dance, and then I get warm. And then my mind gets free and empty, and then I can continue working again. It's a way of taking distance.
Taking a step back from your work, it can give you a new energy. For some, like De Graaf, a moment of freedom might be dancing on an aerobic step-up, or, like Jantje, swimming and diving deep underwater. For others, this moment might be smaller, like a walk outside with a fresh cup of coffee. In a way, we are all our own unique creatures. much like the ones de Graaf creates.
Maybe I have to start with the sentence that sometimes I feel like an octopus when I'm in the city. There's so much input in the city that you get really triggered all over from it, and you have to situate it, to give it a place. And this is inspiring me to make sculptures, to make my work, and to use creatures or all parts of several creatures to make a new abstract creature. It's a way to express certain emotions, like I actually did when I was a young child with stuffed animals. Only this is more complex, but I don't. The creature on itself has to stand for itself. The standard for good sculpture, for me, is that when it's finished, it's standing on itself. You look at it and you turn around, and when you look back, you think, did the sculpture move or did it not? And that's for me the standard, that it's alive, that it's bringing you something, that it's doing something, that you feel that you can, that it's maybe it's giving you some feelings of uncomfortable, but maybe not, or sensuality, sensual feelings. That's also good, but that it does something with you, with your senses. I'm looking more for a feeling. I don't have a message. I don't want to tell people what to do.
In her art, de Graaf is chasing a feeling. This is why she doesn't always care about what the audience might think.
When I create a sculpture or an artwork, I don't think about if people like it or not. I try not to. At first, I think the most strongest way I discovered in my working years is that you have to stay loyal to yourself and to feel absolutely free in making what you have to make, because then the work is strong. And like yourself, you cannot please the whole world. So, and it's the same with the sculpture. It has to stand for itself.
Here, at Schiphol Airport, residing beneath sea level, Jantje's floating presence pulls the passerby's attention into her mysterious world. When you pass her by, you'll hopefully feel inspired by de Graaf's drifting creature, and maybe get a taste of her endless freedom. Thank you for listening to this episode of Art Moments Schiphol. Curious about other artworks at Schiphol? Check out the other episodes in this series, like 10,800 Horizons by Samira Bone. I wish you a pleasant journey.